Welcome back everyone to Mordor, where I am looking for pieces of obsidian to help make a weapon for the Dwarven King, and unfortunately this place is infested with these fire drakes that are going to make it as difficult as possible for me to find said obsidian. But I will have to get through these drakes. I was going to say send them to an appropriate place, but I can't think of too many more appropriate places for a fire drake than on the slopes of Mount Doom. I mean, really. If you were thinking of a place where a fire drake would be being raised, can you think of any place that is more appropriate? I mean, it's very inconvenient that they're there at the moment, but I'll have to admit that. Now, what is inappropriate here is this Gorgoroth wood. I suppose maybe the orcs brought some across or something like that, and that's why we have some wood there. And apparently, it's probably some few pieces of wood that have not yet been burnt by the fiery nature of this region. But that was my first piece of obsidian, and fortunately I do not need a diamond axe in order to harvest it, but I'll need to go and find a little bit more. Oh, it's convenient that we got a bridge here, isn't it? We also have these fire grims, and like the drakes, very few places more appropriate for a fire drake to live than on the slopes of Mount Doom. Now, can I do this without slipping into one of those slag lava places? Oh boy. That looks nasty. Really nasty. And I'm a bit overdue for putting the boots on, but really, I can't see anyone on the slopes of Mount Doom trying to walk on this without boots. I mean, really. How do I get to that? Yoo-hoo! Obsidian! How do I get to you? At least there appears to be also one on my side here. So I can at least grab this one, even if that one there seems tantalizingly close, but way too far. What about this thing? Is this climbable? Probably not. It may change from probably to definitely, so I'll have to go around. I headed back towards the road, and along the way I found this little encampment. And I think we need to deal with some orcs, because, let's face it, we need to rid Mordor of all of its orcs. Could you imagine trying to rid Mordor of every single orc living there? Just imagine that. Because let's face it, how many orcs do you think are living in Mordor? When you consider that that was the central heart of Sauron's realm, that's probably where most of the orcs were being prepared for armies and the like. Yeah, I know, you've got Moria orcs that don't have to worry about spend too much time in armies and stuff like that, so they spend their time probably fighting rival tribes or something like that. But let's see, do I have anything? Because that's another one of my quests, is to find. You find nothing here. There's a lot of you find nothing here's all over the place. But I need to find more of these orcs. So okay, the quest only requires me to kill 15 of them, but someday I'm sure there will be a quest to get rid of every single orc in Mordor. And if my character lives long enough in order to get to be available, Guess who they are going to ask? That's right. Right now, alright, I guess it's for a signature that wasn't all that long. But anyway, I think right after I finish this, I need to get back and find the rest of that obsidian. Ah! More obsidian. And a salamander that's going to want to attack me if... Now, these are the ugliest salamanders in the game that I have ever seen. And I have to say that even the regular salamanders aren't exactly what I call things of beauty. So you can imagine what I think about these. No, like those eyes. Sometimes wonder, are those eyes? See here, my feet are burning as I... And you wonder why I'm wearing boots right now? Look at that. Ouch. So this is an area where you have to really be careful and mine quickly, because if you don't, you're going to get burned. Literally. And thankfully, I think I have found my last piece of obsidian, if I can mine it before my clothes all burned up. Okay, good. Final chunk of obsidian. Whew. Now, is that the last thing I need to do for the dwarves? Yes, that is the last of the quest for the dwarves. I could finally go back to them, but I do have to look in the last location of Sapakar. This is the last known location where Ingold said that someone matching Sapakar's description. Apparently, he was not in very good shape at the time because his last known location was the defeat circle. Well, let's see if he's in the area. Off in the distance you spy a small group of enemies entering the ruins of Barad-dûr. Oh, goody. What a nice, fun place that is. Look at that. That looks imposing, even with most of it fallen. That's probably just a small fraction of what existed of Barad-dûr before the whole thing came tumbling down, because it was built out of very poor construction techniques, and you needed the power of a ring in order to hold it up. Never be dependent on a perishable object when making your construction projects. Ooh, look at this! The final tents that I need in order to meet my minimum daily allowance of orc tent burning. So let's take care of that and take care of the last of the orcs I need at the same time, so as to get 2 more quests out of the way. Right, good. Take care of orcs. And now let's take care of the tents. Good. Oh, and of course there had to be rubble here. 7 artifacts. Well, that's still going to take some time, and I'm sure I'll have to be back at the dwarven base well before I'll find the last of those. I am back, and I found the missives.
Long have we toiled, and for what?
So, King Greytooth does live. 78 years he has been gone, and for 78 years we have known what it is to be slaves. Perhaps those days shall soon be behind us. Mistress Zolrith claimed he was still imprisoned by Sauron after all those years. But one detail in these missives has left me uneasy. You see, my folk have never been sent to seek him. I cannot recall a single expedition to rescue him from the Dark Tower. What attempts to free him could this missive be speaking of? That is a question I shall have to ask the mistress, I think. Where her efforts failed, we must now succeed. It is time King Greytooth is freed from Barad-dûr and returns to lead his folk. All right. Oda, I just thought of something. Guess who they're going to ask to be sent over to free the king? Yep, and you can guess that it is going to be a certain hobbit, right? Hello, Dreary. What a dreary name.
We endure as we always have. That is our way.
Yes, many of those men will rot upon the plain for what they have done. We may serve Mistress Zoreth, but we are not slaves to all the fools of Mordor. A fire burns within us yet. My kin have been given a final honor, and for that I offer you my thanks. All right, you reckon? And now I think we have to go down to the basement in order to get this next bit. Or actually, where I'm going down is not really the basement per se. It's actually the lower level of the tower. You just can't come in this way at this point. So, oh yeah, we do have a forge master here, and we do have a door here, but you can't use that door at this time because we haven't unlocked the door since we've got the mistress all in the area and all that. Hello there, Zversting.
Have you a mind to aid my folk?
Yes, yes, these will do the trick. The Dark Lord's steel is a curious creation. It is light, yet sturdy, and I have come to believe it cannot be dulled by the passing of time. Well, I'm not too sure if the steel of the Dark Lord is all that shiny in the first place, but oh, right. And I guess light he means in weight, because it certainly isn't light from the point of view of light versus darkness. In the hands of any dwarf, I say it still cannot match the beauty and strength of Mithril. Even so, it has no equal in Mordor. Okay, I'll grant you that. If our king should ever return, he shall bear a weapon worthy of his line, I swear it. I have never given up hope that the king lived, for he spared me Sauron's ire when the Dark Lord took him and the other ways. To have him back again would be my greatest joy. I shall set my smiths to work at once. You have my thanks, Pineleaf. All right, you're welcome. And now that means it is time to head back upstairs and close out the chain. Everything seems to be settled. How was your talk with Gimli?
Sauron took everything from us, and then he took more.
You have done well to aid my folk, Pineleaf. As Mistress Zorith promised, King Greytooth lives yet, but we must still wrest him from the dungeons of the Dark Tower, and that shall be no simple task. Ooh, when we get a bracelet. How good of a bracelet is this? About 1,000 times better than the one I've got now. I think that makes the choice obvious there. Boom.
Long have we toiled, and for what?
I don't know, but I guess I toiled for +2 light. Ooh, 42 now. That'll do. That'll do quite well. If I am reading these missives correctly, King Greytooth can be found deep in the dungeons of Barad-dûr, deeper still than any of the stout axes were taken when he was imprisoned. Aye, It seems that Sauron did not want him too close to the others of his kin. As far as I know, only one entrance to Barad-dûr remains, and that is the main gate. It lies across a wide span from the causeway through Dor Amarth, and underneath it the fires of Orodruin blaze without end. Once you enter the tower, you must seek the dungeons and then travel as far within them as you are able. Only then may you find King Greytooth. Foes lurk around every corner in Barad-dûr, but do not forget that others of my kin may be there to aid you if you free them. I can offer no more advice than to watch your back, my friend, for you must venture into the very heart of evil to find King Greytooth. If you return alongside the king, you shall be revered among my folk. Okay. Well, that's going to be quite a feat, going into the Dark Tower. Now, what all do I have left to do other than that? One is to seek out Fursa, but since that's part of a chain that has two others that require me to go into Barad-dûr, it sounds like to me that no matter what I do, I'm going to have to go into that Dark Tower. Ooh, fun. I suspect that's what I'm going to have to do in the next episode of Pineleaf in Mordor.